I always tell people to think of me as their guide. The teacher is actually within, so always listen to the teacher within, i.e. don't do anything that doesn't feel right. Just take care of yourselves, take care of your back, don't force yourself into a pose, just take things easy. And another thing is, sometimes it's good to dedicate a yoga session to somebody or something. For me, we had a message from a dear friend, her husband was just out cutting the lawn. He didn't have the virus, but he had a mild heart attack, so they thought, and they took him to the hospital, and they called his wife, and he didn't make it through. So that's very sad. So my dedication is to our friend, and hope she can pull through this. Also, I've had a request to end the session with an Om, so we'll probably end with 3 Oms. I'll try and unmute before we do that so we can hear ourselves do the Om together. The Om is, they say the Om, when you're making the sound of the Om, it's the sound of the universe, so it's a vibration, so you can use the Om to send messages to loved ones, people that you've lost even. So we're just going to start off seated. So what I'd like you to do, you can sit with the legs crossed, or you can sit Japanese style. Just if you're with the legs crossed, just rest the hands on the legs, close the eyes, and sit up nice and tall. So we're trying to get a nice neutral back. Chin is slightly tucked, or ideally parallel to the ground, head back, and just bring focus to the breath. Normally we're going to breathe in and out through the nose. So start taking longer, deeper breaths. As you breathe in through the nose, pull that air in, fill the lungs, expand the ribs. Exhale through the nose, try and make the exhale just as long as the inhale. Long, slow, deep breaths. So there's a yoga breathing technique called Ujjayi breathing, which I talk about quite often, is where we restrict the flow of air slightly through the throat as we breathe, and we use that technique especially when we're moving in the sun salutations. There's another technique called alternate nostril breathing. So let's practice that. We'll do a few rounds of alternate nostril breathings. So I'd like you to take the right hand, and you're going to take the thumb and the ring finger ideally, and place the thumb and the ring finger on either side of the nose. The other 2 fingers can be pulled in like this, if it's okay with that. And we're just going to close one nostril, and let's close the right nostril with the thumb. And try not to push too hard into the nose, try not to bend the nose. So we're closing the right nostril, and we're inhaling through the left side. We close the left nostril with the ring finger, and we exhale right side. We inhale through the right nostril, close the right nostril, exhale left. Inhale left, exhale right. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale left, exhale right. So just keep going at your pace. Just keep going while I just wanted to explain about this breathing technique. As I say, it's called external nostril breathing. And the idea is that you're trying to even up the flow of breath through each side of the nose. Sometimes what happens is you can breathe more easily through one side than the other side. One side is typically more prominent. but it changes. It can change as often as every 20 minutes. Now the idea is we're trying to balance that breath. And as you balance the breath, you're also balancing the mind. The right side of the nose, the right nostril, they say, is connected to the left side of the brain, the left nostril to the right side of the brain. So as you balance the breath, you're balancing the creative and logical sides of the brain. Another thing about alternate nostril breathing is it's calming. They say it helps to get to sleep, so if you have insomnia, try alternate nostril breathing, try a session for a few minutes late at night, see if it helps you to get to sleep. A couple more rounds. Remember, we switch from one side to the other side at the top of the inhale. After the next exhale, just bring both hands down. So we're just going to work on the shoulders a little bit. We hold a lot of tension in the shoulders. So just start moving the shoulders. I like to work on one shoulder at a time. I'm bringing the right shoulder forward, up, back and down. Then I'll work on the other shoulder. Just trying to lose a little bit of tension here. And then maybe both shoulders together. Maybe shoulders up and down. Whatever feels good. Just trying to loosen up. And then interlace the fingers. Push the palms forward in my direction, pull the shoulders back. And you're trying to sit up nice and tall. And then we bring the arms up. Ideally, we're trying to get the arms either side of the ears. So take your time. It might not get there to begin with, but we're using the breath. Inhale, getting taller. Exhale, we'll bring the arms a little further back. We're reaching up towards the ceiling. We're breathing. We're getting that length. We keep the fingers interlaced and we bring the arms down and we turn the palms up towards the ceiling, stretching the hands out. Shoulders are relaxed. So try not to bring the elbows up, the shoulders up. Relax the shoulders, relax the arms. We're just stretching the hands out, the fingers out. And then we shake the hands. We bring the thumb into the palm. We clasp the thumb. We rest the arms, little finger side facing the ground. And we turn the knuckles towards the ground. This time we're stretching out the thumb side of the hands. If you look at a side view, you see I'm doing this kind of action, trying to turn those knuckles down. Then we're going to bring the back of the hands together, just like this. And we're trying to keep the wrists nice and close as we just circle in one direction. Trying to keep contact with the wrists. Just giving the hands a little bit of attention here. And then we circle in the other direction. And we shake the hands again. And now we're going to come onto our hands and knees. So I'll do the side view. So we're on our hands and knees. So ideally the hips are over the knees, the shoulders are over the wrists. The hands, if you look at the hands, middle fingers facing forward, plenty of space between the fingers. So this is a neutral back, this is a rounded back, this is the belly dropped. So we're going to move with the breath. So as we inhale, we drop the belly and we lift the head up. As we exhale, we're rounding the back and tucking the chin. Inhaling into cow, belly down, head up. Exhaling into cat. We're just moving with the breath. Now we can practice that Ujjayi breathing if you want. So you can hear your own breath. We come into neutral. We're going to lift one leg up. So we did this last week, but this time we're going to add something a little bit different. So we're going to inhale, we're going to look up towards the ceiling, and on the exhale we're going to pull that knee in. Inhale, extend, looking up. Exhale, knee comes in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And we switch sides. Inhaling as the other leg comes up, looking up. Exhale, he comes in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, he comes in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We bring the knees down, we bring the toes together, we come into child's pose. So child's pose, as I say, the toes are touching, knees apart, then the ribs can just slide between the legs, and we're bringing the hands forward, resting the head on the ground. Just hang out in child's pose. 3 or 4 breaths. And then we come up sitting on the heels. So what I'm going to do a little bit of core work with you guys. I mean, this is not strictly yoga, but this really helps with some of the yoga poses. If you've got that strong core, it really does help getting into some of the poses, and it keeps the back nice and safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick demo for those that haven't seen these routines. Some of them I actually got from a physical therapist, so which is good. So I'm just going to demo each type we're doing in turn, and then we'll do about 20 of each, or whatever feels good for you guys. So when we're doing the core work, we're on our backs. Just a little bit of gap, or even no gap here. All the time we're keeping the core engaged. So the first is, we're just arms either side. I'm just going to bring the knees in, keeping the knees bent, and we lightly touch the ground. So we'll do some of those. The next is one leg straight, the other knee bent, and we just switch. We'll do some of those. And then we'll add the arms, so we'll move the arms and the legs together. Then we'll bring the knees in, we'll bring the legs up to the ceiling, and we'll just take the legs over from one side to the other side, just like windshield wipers. So let's start off, knees bent, feet on the ground, arms down. As I say, you're keeping the back nice and low, and you want to move with the breath. Whenever you're ready, go. Keep that core working. Try and push the lower back into the ground. If that lower back comes off, that's fine, but not too far off. This is a nice, easy pose. Your back is nicely supported. And this is, it feels easy. I know what you're thinking, you could do this all day. But, these are going to gradually go a little bit more challenging. We bring one leg, we straighten that leg, and we're going to keep the legs nice and low as we alternate. We do about 20 of these. You don't have to go too fast. 10, 9, 8, 7. Don't forget you can rest anytime you like. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to add the arms. So as one knee comes in, the opposite arm is going over the head. So we're moving the arms and legs together. Maybe you're touching the ground over the head. You don't have to. Sometimes it'll bring the lower back a little bit too high, so you don't have to touch the ground, but if you can, that's fine. We're breathing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we bring the feet down, we take a little bit of breather. Sometimes I'll add side crunches and what's called pistons. We'll do that in another session. But what I'd like you to do next, arms either side of you, the arms are out a little bit further this time, at about 45 degrees. We bring both legs up to the ceiling. You're trying to keep the legs straight. You're trying to keep that 90-degree angle between the legs and the torso. And we take the legs over to one side, about halfway down, back up, and over to the other side. Don't take the legs down too far, otherwise it's too difficult to bring them back up. But take them down far enough So it's a little bit of a challenge. The arms pushing into the ground, they can help you go down nice and slow. You want to go down slow, and the arms will help you bring those legs back up. The slower that you go, the more benefit you're going to have from this one. And don't forget to breathe, don't hold the breath. So we're working that core, we're getting a little bit of a twist here. A couple more each side. And then we bring the legs back to center. We hold onto the back of the legs and we rock ourselves back up. We scoot back on the mat, we cross the legs. Pull the feet in, come onto your hands and knees. Slightly move the hands forward, tuck the toes, come into downward facing dog. So if you look at my down dog, and what I'm trying to get is an upside down V shape. My chin is tucked, I'm looking at the legs or between the legs. Try not to bring the arms too far forward. This is too easy. You could be here all day, so the arms are working, trying to get that upside down V shape. So here you're pushing the thumb, index finger into the mat, armpits towards the ground. You're breathing. Walking the dog. Usually I bring the feet a little bit closer, so a couple of inches between the big toes. And we just bend one knee as we straighten the opposite leg. That's all we're doing. We're moving with the breath. Usually I inhale as I lift the leg off the ground, lift the heel off the ground. Exhale as I go into that stretch. This is a good way to give the calf muscles a little bit of an extra stretch. And then we're going to look forward, and we walk forward between the hands. We inhale halfway up, you're trying to get the back flat. You can come up higher like this or bend the knees, but we're trying to get the back flat as we come halfway up. We fold forward, and then we inhale as we sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. So let's do a half salute. Half salute, you bring the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, we come halfway up. Exhale, we fold forward again. Inhale, we sweep those arms up. Exhale, Samastiti. So I'm just going to shift the mat back a little. Feet together, feet are parallel, or you can have the feet apart as long as the feet are parallel. We inhale, sweeping those arms up, reaching up towards the ceiling. Exhale, we hinge forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we fold forward again, head relaxed. Inhale, breath core brings us up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we fold forward again. Inhale, we come all the way up. Exhale, Samastiti. Side view. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we fold forward again. Inhale, we come all the way up. Exhale, Samastiti. Come to the front of the mat. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, fold forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, this time we plant the hands. We come into plank pose. Hold plank. So plank, we're trying to get the heels directly over the toes. So I'm just wiggling the toes back. Shoulders over the wrists. Try not to sink like this. You're pushing the hands into the ground, shoulders up towards the ceiling. Don't let the hips sink. Too much pressure on the back. So we're trying to keep the back neutral. This makes it too easy. So keep that back neutral, get the benefit of this pose. Side plank. Bring one hand to center, stack the feet. You bring the other arm up towards the ceiling. A bit of a challenge for people that haven't done this. So if it's a challenge, you bring one foot down like this, or you bring one knee down. You're breathing, and then maybe you can look up towards that top hand. We switch sides. Through plank, into side plank. And don't forget to breathe, don't hold the breath. We come back into plank. And then we're going to bring the knees down to the ground. We keep the elbows in, chin chest comes down and forward. We inhale into cobra. We exhale back into downward facing dog. We look forward between the hands, we walk forward, inhaling halfway up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, we come all the way up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands. We're back in plank. Knees down, chin chest forward and down. Inhaling into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring one leg up. So this is extended down dog. And then we're going to stack the hips. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to get one hip stacked over the other hip. Then you're bending that top knee, getting a little bit of a hip opener. And then we switch legs. Other leg comes up. We try and stack the hips, we're bending that top knee. Keep both hands on the ground. And then top foot joins the bottom foot. We look forward, we walk forward between the hands. We come halfway up, we fold forward. Inhale brings us up. Exhale, Samastiti. Chair pose. So in chair, we're sitting in this imaginary chair position. We can see the toes. If you can't see the toes, if the knees are too far forward, take the knees back slightly and we bring the arms up. They can be facing forward or they can be either side of the ears. This is how I like it to be in chair. Let's synchronize the breath. Everyone inhale. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands. We're back into plank. Knees down, chin chest forward and down. Inhaling into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up to the ceiling. So we're back in extended down dog. Exhale, we bring that top foot between the hands. We turn the back foot in. We come into warrior one. Remember in the warrior poses, we always keep the knee over the ankle, never forward of the ankle. Bring the palms together, look up towards the ceiling. You're reaching up. And on the next exhale, we come back into plank. We bring the knees down, chin chest forward and down. Inhaling into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the other leg up. Exhale, we sweep that foot through. We readjust the back foot. Arms come up. So in the warrior poses, I like to line up the heel. So if I draw a straight line from that front heel, it's going to intersect the back heel. Reach up, look up towards the ceiling, a little bit of a back bend. And then bring the hands down, back into plank, knees down, chin chest forward and down, inhaling into cobra, exhale, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. And if you want to take a little bit of a breather, you could go into child's pose if you want. Downward facing dog. We're trying to get more length. It's not a static pose. Each breath we're trying to get a little bit more length. We're pulling the arms towards the ground. We're looking between the legs. We're looking at the belly button. We look forward. We walk forward between the hands. Inhale halfway up. Exhale folding forward. Knees stay bent. As you bring the arms up, we're back in chair. And then we come back into Samastiti. So when we do that knees down, this pose here, and chin chest forward and down, cobra, a more challenging way is chaturanga up dog. I've gone over this before with you guys, most of you know this, but if this is new to you, chaturanga up dog is from plank. We're bringing the whole body forward. We drop the elbows to 90, and then we come into up dog. Up dog, hips are off the ground, arms are straight. Cobra, hips are down, elbows are bent. So you want to make sure you're not shrugging the shoulders. What happens sometimes is people have got hips down and then try and straighten the arms. And look at my shoulders, it shrugs the shoulders. If the arm's straight, you've got to open up that chest. If the elbows are bent, hips are down, but don't shrug the shoulders up. Keep that back, keep the shoulders safe. Back onto your hands and knees, down dog, look forward, walk forward between the hands, inhale halfway up, exhale folding forward, inhale coming all the way up, exhale Samasthiti. So what we're going to do next, we're going to do what I call a lunge salutation. I could do with a little bit more space here. So a lunge salutation, we're going to start off just like we did before, coming into chair. Inhaling as the arms come up. Exhale, we fold forward and down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, we're going to bring the hands down. We're just going to take the right leg back, knee down to the ground. And we inhale as the arms come up. We exhale, we bring the hands down. Chaturanga on each chin, chest to ground. Inhaling into cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg comes up. Exhale, we sweep that foot through. Back knee comes down. We're doing the lunge. In theory, we should be doing the lunge on the other side. We come back into plank. Chaturanga, up dog, back into downward facing dog. Couple of breaths in downward facing dog. We look forward, we walk forward between the hands. Inhale halfway up, exhale folding forward. Inhale back into chair. Exhale Samasthiti. Inhale chair. Exhale folding forward and down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, we bring the hands down. This time we'll start off with the other leg back. We're going to take the left leg back, knee down. Inhaling as the arms come up. Exhale back into plank. Chaturanga. Inhaling into up dog. Exhale downward facing dog. Inhale left leg up. Exhale we sweep that foot through. Back knee down. Back into that low lunge. And then we come back into plank. Chaturanga. Inhaling into up dog. Exhale downward facing dog. And we hold down dog 3 or 4 breaths. Keep pushing those armpits towards the ground. Keep the chin tucked. Trying to get that length. So bring one leg up. It doesn't matter which leg. And then bring that foot between the hands. And I'm going to face the screen. So you might have to go through more of a circle to face the screen. So basically this time we've got the legs wide apart. The feet are parallel. So we're trying to keep the back nice and neutral. So the legs are vertical, the arms are parallel with the legs. And we're going to bring one hand to center. We open the chest and we bring the other arm up towards the ceiling. It can be a little bit of a challenge. Just hang in there for a bit. Sometimes these blocks are useful. What you find sometimes is the back is rounded. So if you've got your hand on the block, it helps you to stop the back being rounded. We're trying to keep that top arm nicely lined up with the back. We're opening up, we're looking up towards the ceiling. You're breathing. You want to think straight lines. We bring the top hand down. We open the chest up in the other direction. Again, straight lines. Trying to take that twist. You want to keep that top arm nicely lined up with the back. Also, that top hand is lined up with the arm. We come back down. And then we're going to walk the feet together, heel, toe, heel, toe. And then we slowly roll up, inhaling as the arms come up. Exhale, Samasthiti. So props in yoga, blocks are useful, mats, sticky mats of course, and straps are useful. So if you don't have a yoga strap, just a luggage strap or something like that's useful. Come back into chair. So this time we're going to take a chair twist. We bring the arms up to begin with. We bring the palms together. And then we're going to take one arm outside the opposite leg. And you're looking towards the side. You're pushing the hands together, elbow up towards the ceiling. I'm really trying to push that lower arm into the leg, adds a little bit of a leverage getting into a deeper twist. We come out of the twist and we take it in the other direction. We come back into chair, and then we come all the way up. Bring the arms up. Bend the knees into chair so you guys can see me. And then what we're going to do, we're going to work our way into eagle pose. So we're going to take the right arm under the left arm. You get the hands parallel. It can be the back of the hands or the palms. Garudasana, eagle pose. If you want to just hang out here, that's fine. You don't need to go any further. But if you want to add the legs, you bring the right leg on top of the left leg. You squeeze the legs and you try and hook that top foot behind the standing leg. It's a challenge. You're pulling the shoulders down, you're leaning back slightly, you're trying to touch the nose with the thumb or the fingers. And don't forget to breathe. We release and we shake everything out. Eagle on the other side. We bring the left arm under the right arm. Or if you did the right arm first, just make sure you're switching sides. So if the left arm is underneath, the left leg comes up on top, the right arm is underneath, the right leg comes on top. You have to squeeze those legs together if you've got any hope of trying to hook that foot. Some people, your foot might be like this. In fact, probably 80% of people are like this. I can't hook my foot today. Sometimes it won't hook. And then sometimes you lose the balance. Just do the best you can. See if you can touch the nose, breathe, and then come out of the pose. So there's another pose which I like to do. I call this no, it's not flying pigeon, it's standing pigeon. But stay standing. There's this pose on the ground called recline pigeon. Just watch for a minute. We bring the out of one foot, I think we did this last week, and we're pulling the legs in like this. We're getting hip stretch. So imagine you're standing on this foot. Basically, we're doing the standing version. This is where a block is useful. If you don't have a block, no worries. So we're going to stand on the right foot. That knee is bent. We bring the other leg on top. This foot is flexed, and we're just resting the hands on that top leg. Standing pigeon. We're getting a stretch on the outside of that hip. Now the more you bend that knee of the standing leg, the lower you go, the more you're going to feel the stretch. So the block is there just if you want to go a little bit lower and you get a little bit more stretch. Maybe you don't need the block, maybe you can just touch the ground. If this is too intense, don't go as low. Remember, we're listening to what our body tells us. And we release, we come out, and we switch onto the other side. My balance is not so good today. So bouncing on that other foot, the knee of the standing leg is bent. You're trying to keep the back neutral as you go lower. Maybe you bring your hands down onto a block. Don't forget the block has several heights. You can start off with the highest height. Nice hip stretch on this one. And we release. So the next stage in that, I'm not going to demo, but I'm just going to talk about it a little bit, is to actually bring the arms down, hook the foot, and then come into hand balance. You're just balancing on the hands, back foot is off the ground. And then you sweep that leg back. That would be flying pigeon. Interlace the fingers behind you. Bend the knees, rest the belly on the legs, and we're looking, head is relaxed, we're looking between the legs. Shoulders are pulled away from the ears, we're pulling the arms up towards the ceiling. Be kind to the shoulders. Imagine you breathing into the shoulders. Just letting those shoulders open. Take your time. And then we slowly bring the arms down. And we just fold up. Inhaling as the arms come up. Exhale into Samasthiti. Let's work our way down. Usually, if you work in one area, so we did a little bit of core work mainly for the front, you want to do some back work. So what we're going to do is we're going to lie face down on the mat. So I'm just stacking the hands, I'm just going to rest my forehead on my hands. And we're just going to bring one leg up. You don't have to bring it up too high. And you're just working the glutes and the lower back. And you're breathing. And then we switch. We bring the other leg up. And then we bring both legs up, we take the arms either side, we bring the arms up, the chest up, the head up. You keep that core engaged. If this bothers the lower back, don't go quite so high. If the back is okay, maybe you can come up a little bit higher. You're breathing. And then we come down and we just totally relax. So try this. We bend both knees. We see if we can find the feet. You can hold on to the feet just below the toes or the inside of the ankles. This pose is called Dhanurasana. So the legs are doing all the work. So I'm trying to pull the legs away from me, and then I'm trying to lift the legs up towards the ceiling. I'm opening the chest. You're breathing. So the legs are working a lot. If you feel any discomfort in the lower back, just take it easy, just bring the legs down. But the legs are going to work a lot on this one. So nice chest opener. I'm trying to bring my chest up as high as I can. I'm breathing. So the arms are just like rope. And that rope is connecting the shoulders to the feet. Legs are working a great deal on this one. Try not to let the legs splay out too much. You want to try and keep the legs parallel. We come down and we totally relax. Rest one side of the face on the mat. And then we bring the hands down and we're going to come into child's pose. And sit on the heels. On the heels. Place the hands behind you. So the fingers are lined up with the toes. Elbows are bent slightly. We open the chest. Chin is tucked. And then slowly take the head back if the neck is okay with that. And then if you want a little bit more challenge, you bring those hips up. Breathe. Expanding that upper chest. Breathe. Bringing the hips up towards the ceiling. Take 2 or 3 more breaths. And then we slowly come down. And we come onto our backs. Let's go into bridge. You work bringing the feet in nice and close. You come part way up, interlace the fingers, and you're going to walk the shoulders, arms in a little bit closer. So bridge. Gaze is towards the ceiling. Please do not gaze from side to side. It's back to the neck. We're trying to lean over to one side, walking one arm, one shoulder, and then do the other side. That gives us space underneath the neck. Hands are pushed into the mat. Arms are pushed into the mat. Feet are pushed into the mat. Hips, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. If you feel any discomfort in the lower back, just lower the hips slightly. Keep the legs parallel. Breathe. Legs working a lot on this one. Inhale. Exhale, lift those hips up a little bit. Inhale. Exhale, we slowly start to come down. We release the arms. We lower the back, upper back, mid back, lower back, and then we pull the knees in towards us and we just rock from side to side. Sometimes I'll do bridge and I'll slide a block underneath, come into a restorative version, which you can hold for a lot longer if you want. Let's work on the feet. We started off the class working on the hands a little bit, so let's work on the feet now. So take hold of the back of one leg, and we're just going to point the toes and flex the foot. Point and flex. Just do that a few times. And then just rotate the foot in one direction. And then rotate in the other direction. And then we're going to switch legs. Take hold of the back of the other leg. Point and flex. And then just circle in one direction and circle in the other direction. A little bit of isometric work. Pull both knees in. Bring the hands either side of the outside of the legs. There's a gap between the legs and you're trying to push those legs together. The legs resist. Working those arms as much as you can. We make fists. We bring the fists in between the legs. This time we're trying to separate the legs. Again, the legs resist. Arms are working a lot on this one. The legs are working too, but the legs could easily win this one, but work those arms. And then we're going to try and push the legs away. Now what you're going to find on this one is that the core's working. You're going to have to engage that core, tighten the belly, and you're breathing. And then we hold onto the back of the legs. This time we're trying to pull the legs in. Again, the legs resist. Release and relax. Pull the head in, and we're going to rock ourselves into boat. So we're rocking backwards and forwards. When we come into boat, Navasana, we're bouncing on the sit bones. You can start off like this. If your back is good, arms either side of you. And if you want even more challenge, you're trying to straighten the legs. So what I'm trying to get is I'm trying to get the back neutral. I'm trying not to round the back too much. This is a bit of a challenge. So the core work. If any of you guys have ever gone to Ashtanga yoga, they do this pose 5 times. Each time they hold it for 5 breaths. In between the pose, what they'll do is they cross the legs like that, they'll bring the hands down to the ground, and then they'll come up like that, and then back down, and then back into Navasana. And they'll do that 5 times. We're going to skip the rest. we just come back down, we pull the knees in, and we're just going to rock from side to side. And then just lean over to one side, and we're going to come back into a seated position. So what I'm going to show you, I briefly demoed recline pigeon, we did the standing pigeon. There's a regular pigeon pose which we're going to play around with. I think I'll turn my mat around for this one. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees. If you've never done pigeon, you can watch for a minute. So we're on our hands and knees, we come into downward facing dog. We bring one leg up to the ceiling, extended down dog, and then we bring that knee in close to that front wrist. So if it's the right knee forward, right knee is close to the right wrists. I usually take the knee out to the side a little bit, but if that's too much groin stretch, pull the knee back to center. So the back leg is straight. You want to keep the hips nice and even to the ground. Try not to lean over to one side like this. Try and keep those hips nice and even. So if the hips are even, the back is in one nice straight line, it's not kinked. The next thing I do is I tuck the toes of my back foot and I try and walk that foot back a little bit. So I'm just getting a little bit of an extra stretch. And this up like this, they call this raised pigeon, and when you come down, this is extended pigeon. So we're bringing the head down towards the ground, we're just resting the head on the ground or on the hands, whatever feels good. So this is one pose, you just stay in recline pigeon. This is one pose that you can hold for a while. You usually hold it for like half a minute or a minute even. Then you're getting the benefit of it. I'm not going to hold it too long today. I want to show you a couple of variations in this pose. So, come up into raised pigeon. Next thing is totally optional. What we're going to do in this pose is not only we're getting a hip stretch here, but it's stretching out the front of that back, that straight leg. Now if you want to get a bit of extra stretch, let me do the side view here. What you can do is you can take hold of that back foot and you can pull that foot in towards you. Maybe you just like this. Don't forget, we're not competing, don't forget. Some people say, how come he can do this and I can't? I've been doing yoga for over 20 years, so this I can pull the foot way in like this. Now another thing, so I'm taking hold of my left leg with my left arm. If you've got you might be the right leg with the right arm. But what I want you to do next is to switch hands, take hold of the foot with the other hand, but instead of pulling the foot in, you're pushing the foot away from you and you're adding a little bit of twist. So that back leg is working. And then we release and we're going to switch sides. We come back into downward facing dog, maybe walk the dog a little bit. We're stretching that leg out. And then we bring the other leg up, extended down dog. And we come into pigeon on the other side. Raised pigeon. So we're in the raised pigeon, hips are nice and even. Toes to that back foot tucked, maybe walk that foot back a little bit. If it feels good. Remember keeping those hips nice and even. And then whenever you're ready, extended pigeon. Take your time. It should be very comfortable. Sometimes one thing you have to be careful with in pigeon, this version of pigeon, is the knee. If it bothers the knee, just try and adjust it, or maybe come onto the back, do that recline version. We come back up. Usually I'd like to hold a little bit longer, but we're getting our hour is running out. We're going to take hold of that back foot, we pull the foot in, get a bit more of a quad stretch. And then we're going to take hold of the foot with the other hand, and this time we push the foot away, opening up the chest this time. So that leg, that top leg, this foot here is working a lot, the opening up. So what we're going to do here, stay in raised pigeon. What we're going to do is just get ourselves into a seated twist. So this time we are going to lean over to one side, and we bring that back leg round, and the foot can be inside the leg like this. If you're new to yoga, this is my recommendation. If you've done yoga for a while, you've got the flexibility, you can have the foot outside. You want this foot solidly on the ground, and then we take the twist. So you can either hug that knee, or you can have the arm outside the leg. We inhale, getting tall, exhale into that twist. Inhale, coming out of the twist, we switch legs, and then we twist in the other direction. We inhale, we come out of the twist, we come onto our backs, we pull the knees in, we rock from side to side, and then we take a full body stretch. You're extending the legs, you're extending the arms over the head. And then into Shavasana, bringing the arms either side of you, palms up towards the ceiling. So Shavasana is the final pose, it's the resting pose. You're just going to close the eyes, you're just going to totally relax, just let yourself sink into the ground. Just stay in Shavasana. So in Shavasana, we're just letting, as I say, we're just letting the body sink into the ground. Sometimes it's good to scan the body, working from your feet up. Just make sure you're not holding any tension. While you guys are in Shavasana, I'm just going to unmute. You might have to do it and slowly come up into a seated position. So I can hear everybody. So what we're going to do, we're going to end the class. We're going to end the class with a couple of breaths, and we're going to end with 3 ohms. So the ohm is the way I do an ohm. For those of you that have never done an ohm, I'm just going to do a demo of an ohm. It starts off like an R sound, and then it goes into ohm, and also like a humming. So it's like this. So what we'll do 2 breaths together, and then we'll do 3 ohms. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale, exhale. Bring the palms together. Now if you want to join in Om, it's certainly optional. We breathe in through the nose. hands to the forehead. Namaste. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend.